there, it's Carol with Carol B Crafts. Welcome to TNT Tuesday. TNT Tuesday is the day that I share with you tips and tricks, tools and techniques. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how I store my Stampin' blends. Now there are many ways that you can store your Stampin' blends. This is maybe not the best way for you, but it's how I do it, and I wanted to share with you how you can make this little insert to hold your pens in place. And this plastic case is the full wide stamp case that Stampin' Up! Sells, and I'll put the number on the screen for you. Now there's 20, if you buy the full set, there's 27 pens, and each case holds 14 pens, so you would need 2 cases for your 27 pens if you do the full set. And then of course if Stampin' Up! Decides to add additional colors, then you'll be able to make more cases to store your pens in. Now I just have a couple of tips about storing your Stampin' blends in these cases, and that is that if you notice the Stampin' blend is flatter on one side than it is on the other, you want to be able to store them flat, because if they get turned like this, then the case doesn't want to go down as easily. And the other tip that I want to share with you is when you are closing the case, kind of push the case to the back. If you have trouble closing it, just push the little insert to the back a little bit and you wouldn't have any trouble. So I really think this is a good solution for storing our Stampin' blends. So I'll show you how to make that insert. Now what you'll need to make the insert, you'll need your scoring tool. You'll need a sheet of thick Whisper White, and this is 8.5 by 10 1/4. So I just took 3/4 off the edge. You'll need a bone folder, some of our tear and tape, and a pair of good scissors. Now we'll start scoring on the long end, and we're going to do, on this end, we're going to do 1 inch and 2 inch. Then we're going to flip it all the way around to the other side and do 1 inch and 2 inch. Then we're going to flip it this way, portrait style, and do 7/8 of an inch and 1 7/8 of an inch. Turn it all the way around, do 7/8 and 1 7/8. And we're done with our scoring pad. Next we're going to use our scissors, and we're going to cut here on the end. You'll see there's 4 little squares. The 2 squares here on the long end, where we have the longer end, we're going to cut up to that second score line. So 1, 2. Then we're going to do the same on the other side, up to that second score line, all the way around. Now we're going to fold this down, and we're going to cut these 2 squares. We're going to cut up to this first score line. So 1, 2, and then we're going to just go ahead and cut this outside square off like that. Again, we'll go up to that next score line, cut that outside square off. So at this point, this is what you should have. 2 flaps here on the edge, on the ends, on the long side, and 2 smaller flaps here on this side, on the inside here. Now we're going to take our scissors and do some trimming so that we have better fit when we go to make our folds. So on this one, we're going to, on the long ones, we're going to cut on the inside about 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little less. That gives you an idea about how much we're going to cut. Then we're going to turn it, and then the next long flap on the inside, we're going to cut again 1/16 of an inch or thereabouts. Then on this side, again on the inside, the long one, about 1/16 of an inch. And then our last one over here, about 1/16 of an inch. Now we're going to do this inside little flap, and this one we are going to do on the outside, and the same thing, about 1/16 of an inch. So here's our little flap over here. This is the outside towards the square that's missing, and so towards the square that's missing, and again towards the square that's missing. Okay, so we have all those. Now we're going to do some little wedges, tiny little wedges on each of these flaps. So on this flap, we'll be a little wider on the end and go up towards that edge. So it will be wider down here and not as wide up there, and it's just a tiny little bit. We're just doing some easement here, easement work, so that when we go to put our box together, we don't have bulky folds. So we'll do all of those tiny little wedges. Okay, I think I have them all. Maybe this one a little bit more. It should be thinner down here than it is up here, and you'll know that you did a good wedge job. If it's thinner down here, this one I could probably do a little better. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing to our smaller flaps. We're going to do little wedges. And again, you can tell you did a good job if it's not as thick down here as it is up there. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do for our easing is these last little flaps on the ends, the smaller ones, the outside flaps. We're just going to do a wedge on them on each side. Okay, so now we have done all our easement cutting, and now we're going to use our tear and tape. Now these two long pieces on the edge, there's on each side, we're going to put 2 strips of tear and tape, one towards the top and one towards the bottom. And when you do your tear and tape, be sure to hold your thumb down against the tape when you tear, because I found that this paper, if you don't, when you go to pull, just tear it away, the paper will tear as well. So we'll go ahead and do the other side. Going to do the same on the outside flaps of the smaller flaps. We're going to do 2 strips. Now we're going to turn it over and do the small flaps, these little tiny flaps. We're going to put, I'm going to do 3 strips. 1, 2, 3. Remember, hold your thumb down or your nail down so when you rip, so the paper doesn't rip. So I have 3 little strips, 1, 2, 3, going across. I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, so that's our tear and tape. So I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder and push that tape down really good so it adheres to the cardstock. Now you could use fast fuse on this. I'm not sure how well it would work, but you definitely could give it a try. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and fold, and where our valleys are facing us, we're going to fold away. So we'll go ahead and fold all of our folds. Now on these long pieces, we're going to fold them back like this. So this is what you have. They're folded back. Go ahead and fold this one back. And then the smaller ones we're going to fold to the inside like this. So this is what we have. Now we're going to start with the small flaps. And it doesn't matter which one you start with. We'll just remove those strips of the tape there. So this is going to be on the inside. And so what we're going to do is push this up, and this corner here, this is going to make the corner. We're going to just put it so that it's even. It makes a nice corner. And then we're going to press it down. I'm going to do the same with this corner. Remove the strips. And then on the inside like this, we're just going to make sure that corner meets nicely. Press it down. I'm just going to go all the way around. Next we're going to do the longer flaps. It's easier if you go ahead and push these down temporarily on the edges so that you can work better. So basically this is what is going to happen. This is going to go on the inside. I think I'll go ahead and make this a better crease so that it fits better. So the next thing we're going to do is remove the strips from this piece here. And the best way I found to put this in is to fold these in and then push this down and then let these go to the side like that. And you can push them in. Do the other side. So the last thing we have to do is the end flaps. Just remove this tape and push the flaps inside. So the last thing I'm going to do is just take my bone folder and crease those edges so they're nice and crisp. And it's ready to go inside our case. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll give this a try. I think it's going to work really well. Check out my blog, www.carolbcrafts.com, and find out about my customer rewards program. And also check out my Facebook page, Cut, Stamp, Create. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye now.